Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show. Today we have a very, very special guest. I'd say one of the most special guests I've ever had on the show. His name is Ryan Cerri. Ryan, I've known since he was one. My firstborn, my son Brett, and Ryan met in kinder care or something like that. So 35, 36 years ago, and we've been close ever since. Ryan's been like another family member. And Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
Um, One of the reasons why I want to have you on the show is because of what you've gone through this year. Why don't you take the audience through March of this year? What happened to kind of disrupt the way you kind of knew your life to be?
Yeah, so back in March is around the time of shutdowns, and I started. My wife and I definitely thought, like, because of the shutdowns, maybe I was listening to my body a little more. But I noticed that I had a shortness of breath, and I had an ongoing cough, and crackling in my breathing. So I immediately, after a couple video visits, they diagnosed me with, just a common cold. And I said, this isn't normal. So finally got an in-person visit, which is tough during COVID times. And they diagnosed me right away with pneumonia. And then after, they put me on antibiotics, and a few days later, I guess one of my tests came back, a D-dimer test, and said, go to the emergency room so you can get a CAT scan because it came back high, and just in case, we want to make sure there's no blood clots. So I checked in, and when I got to the emergency room, they ran tests, the scans. They didn't see pneumonia, but I had the scans of a common COVID patient, and I thought there was no way. I mean, my wife and I, and we've been very strict, staying at home, and taking precautions there, and took 3 COVID tests, and they all came back negative. Then it was the shotgun approach. And about a week later, a biopsy result it turned out it was an inflamed lymph node, came back, and it showed lung cancer on April 20th. And I was shocked.
And it was stage 4 cancer, which is like the worst. And you've never smoked ever in your life, correct?
Yeah, never been around smoking. Lived a fairly healthy lifestyle. Nothing out of the ordinary. No, it was not, didn't run in my family. And, I got transferred to UCSF, and that's where they diagnosed it with stage 4 lung cancer. And with that, I learned a lot about lung cancer. I learned that 50% of lung cancer patients find out that they have stage 4, or once they're diagnosed, they find it's already at stage 4. And there was one positive note, the type that I have. They ran a blood molecular test, and so we had a genetic mutation with this type of cancer. So they call it ALK positive, and which is a rare form, 5% of lung cancer patients. And it's most common with young, under 50 years old, and never around smoking. So go figure. I mean, it could basically happen to anyone. Just unfortunate, but yeah, learned. So I don't know if you want me to carry on with.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about how they're treating it, and then and then how is your life different? Like how are you living differently now? What is this? How have you turned lemons into lemonade?
Yeah. So luckily with this rare form, since it's a genetic mutation, I'd say they first discovered this mutation about 15 years ago. And, science is research has grown tremendously in the last few years. And 3 years ago, they discovered this target treatment called what I'm on is alectinib, and it's in a pill form that I take daily, and it basically lets me live a normal life. Like I feel totally healthy, gives me yeah, I feel healthier than I have in a long time, with very minimal side effects. For me, I luckily haven't felt any side effects. But the only caveat is they say the cancer will get resistant to this drug at a certain point. Usually after 3 years or so, that's the average. And so after that, then it's on to the next treatment, and it's on to the next treatment. And so for me and my fellow ALK positive patients, we call ourselves alkies. Anyway, I'm in an ALK positive support group, and so anyway, research really does equal life, and that's why I started this fundraiser, Cerri Strong, and it's I think the link is on the screen, and that's where you can see my story and also learn more about this specific type of lung cancer that can really affect anyone.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's a sobering story, man. I remember when Brett called me, and your dad Bob called me and told me about it. I was like, what? Ryan Siri? I mean, it's incredible that, something like this, uh, kind of attacked you and changed your life, and especially during COVID, you couldn't see your wife and your child and all that during the treatments and stuff. So, hey, I just want to thank you for sharing with my LinkedIn community. Hopefully, some light bulbs go on, and you can't be too cautious when it comes to your health. So, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.